نحمده ونصلي على رسول الكريم. So we discussed the sajda of a man, right? We said a man, we found it, a man will separate between his thighs and his stomach. There will be a gap between there, right? And then we also said that a man, if he's a munfarid, or if he's got space without inconveniencing anybody, he will open up his arms, right? Remember? So here now, we are explaining the sajda of a woman. As is the principle with regards to a woman, she will contract herself. She will make herself less evident, right? She will make herself less evident. Hence, وَالْمَرْأَةُ تَنْخَفِضُ فِي سُجُودِهَا. A woman, she will make herself small, right? And she will bring herself down to the ground. Just help him find a place. He didn't found it. Help him. Help him find, inshallah. Right? So وَالْمَرْأَةُ تَنْخَفِضُ. خَفَضَ يَخْفِضُ means to make herself low. Like how we said, remember we said we discussed this, a man will push his buttock will be upright. So a woman, she will keep her buttocks down. وَالْمَرْأَةُ تَنْخَفِضُ وَتَلْزَقُ بَطْنَهَا بِفَخِذَيْهَا. And she will join her stomach with her thighs. So like a man spreads himself out. Remember we told you in the previous one, a buhma, a small kid must be able to move underneath here. She won't create that space between her thighs and the stomach, right? وتلزق بطنها بفخذها لأن ذلك أستر لها, because that is more concealing for her, right? Okay, so I just want to read this out for you, inshallah, yeah? The details about the lady's sajda. I'm going to read it. Okay, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Firstly, she won't spread her elbows out. So normally a woman is reading Salat alone even. She won't spread like our man, open her, she'll keep her elbows against her side. Imam Abu Bakr ibn Abi Shaybah rahimullah narrates the following عن إبراهيم قال إذا سجدت المرأة فلتلزق بطنها بفخذها. She will join her stomach with her thighs. ولا ترفع أجزتها ولا تجافي كما يجافي الرجل. Ibrahim rahimullah ta'ala says that when a woman prostrates, she should join her thighs to her stomach without raising her posterior and without stretching her limbs out like that of a male. First thing. So the above will not be fulfilled if a woman raises her elbows in sajda. So she won't raise her elbows also, right? The above hadiths are clear regarding the different posture of the man from that of a woman in salah. Anyone who even has the basic knowledge of a hadith would understand the concept of mukhtalaf al-hadith and the sciences of reconciling apparent inconsistencies. Right? So, not be able to this will lead to one erroneous conclusion as, okay, so there is just going into the other details, the technical details, but that's not what we worried about. The main thing we want is there's a hadith, a clear hadith, where he says that when a woman prostrates, she should join her thighs to her stomach without raising her posterior and without stretching out her limbs like a man, right? The above will not be fulfilled if a woman raises her elbows. So she won't raise her elbows, she'll keep her elbows close to her body. Is that clear? Right. Okay, carry on. Now that we've clarified it, we can carry on to the next lesson, inshallah.
لقوله عليه السلام في حديث الأخرى ثم ارفع رأسك حتى تستوي جالسا ولو لم جالسا فسجد أخرى أجزأه.
Okay, so Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. We discussed, remember, there must be two sajdas, right? Now, before we look at the actual text, maybe I should explain to this. Here, first thing, look at me. First thing, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. One is, for there to be two sajdas, you must separate between the two sajdas, right? You can't say, for instance, one sajda is three tasbeehs, right? So now you go down and you stay for six tasbeehs and you say, I made two sajdas. First three tasbeehs was one sajda, and second three tasbeehs was the second sajda. That doesn't make sense. That is just one long sajda. So you need to separate between the two sajdas. And how will you separate between the two sajdas? You must come out of sajda. Right? Understood that? So what is considered to come out of sajda? So just see, this is this is how you sajda, right? And this is the sitting position, right? Look at this. Right? So when you come out of sajda, where you in a position closer to the sitting position, then the sajda, now we'll say you came out of sajda. You understood that? So what that would effectively mean is this here. For us to say you have done two sajdas, for us to say you have done two sajdas, you must at least what? Come out of the first sajda and go closer to the sitting position, even if you don't go into the sitting position. Even if you don't go into the sitting position, you just go closer to the sitting position, then we will say what? That you have made two sajdas. Now I told you, you might even see this sometimes you see among the older people, or maybe even the ladies, if they come out of the one sajda, right? Listen nicely. And they don't go closer to the sitting position. They just lift themselves slightly out of sajda to such an extent they still closer to the sajda position, right? Follow? If they come out of sajda and they still closer to the what? To the sajda position, then we won't say they made two sajdas because as though they haven't come out of sajda. Are you with me? So I'll repeat that. If a person comes out of sajda, they just lift their head slightly or they lift their body slightly. And the lifting up is not closer to the sitting position or what we call the jalsa, right? It is not closer to the jalsa. We'll still say it is one sajda. What do we say it is? One sajda. So in order to separate between the two sajdas, you must come out of sajda and come closer to the sitting position. Once you come closer to the sitting position, now we'll say that you made two sajdas, right? So that's the fardh. Then the second thing we discussed, I mentioned to you also earlier, that to sit in the tawbah position, that is wajib. Remember we said, sorry, to sit in the jalsa position. The jalsa position is the sitting between the two sajdas. To come right up and sit up straight, that is what? That is wajib. And then for your body to come to a complete standstill also, where every limb comes to a rest, that is also wajib, right? So you understood now what is the fardh. The fardh is to come out of sajda and to come closer to the what you call it, to the jalsa position, that is fardh. But to come right up and sit up straight, right? To come right up and sit up straight, right? That is wajib. And for the body to come to a standstill, that is also wajib. Are you with me? You understood that? Now let's follow the lesson. ثُمَّ يَرْفَعُ رَأْسَهُ. Then he will raise his head, he will come out of sajda, وَيُكَبِّرْ, and he will make takbir. And we got a proof, proof, كَانَ يُكَبِّرُ عِنْدَ كُلِّ خَفْضٍ وَرَفْضٍ, right? وَيُكَبِّرُ لِمَا رَوَيْنَا, he will make takbir because of what we narrated. So, فَإِذَا اطْمَأَنَّ جَالِسًا, when his body comes to a complete standstill in the jalsa position. So this is wajib. You mustn't just come into the jalsa position and then quickly go out of the jalsa position again. So body must come to a complete standstill in the sitting position, right? That is wajib, right? Are you with me? So فإذا أتبعنا جالسا, so when you come to a complete sitting position there, جالسا, كبر, you will make takbir, and then wasajada, then you go down for a second sajda, which is also farz, right? Why? لقوله عليه السلام, because of the statement of the Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam في حديث الأعرابي, the famous hadith of the Arabi that we done, remember? We done ثم ارفع رأسك, then raise your head, right? Then raise your head حتى تستوي جالسا, until you come to تستوي, a straight sitting position. So that's wajib, right? So this is very, very important. I can tell you most people are negligent of this. Most people are reading Salah on their own, and even I can tell you even the ladies are negligent of this. So it is wajib that between the two sajdas, that your body must come to a complete standstill. And if you read the sunnah dua, what Allah fili warhamni wa afini wa ahdini warzuqni, that dua, if you read that dua, then it will make sure, by taking time to read the dua, that will ensure that your body is coming to a standstill, right? Right? ثم ارفع رأسه حتى يستوي جالسا. So they're saying, ولو لم يستوي جالسا وكبر وسجد أخرى أجزأه عند أبي حنيفة ومحمد. Like I explained to you, if your body doesn't come to a complete standstill, but you just came out of the sajda, then if you say you done the faraz, you made two sajda, see there, ولو لم يستوي جالسا, he does not come to a complete straight sitting position, وكبر, and he makes a takbir, وسجد أخرى, and he goes to the next sajda, أجزأه عند أبي حنيفة ومحمد, we'll say that his second sajda is done. Why? Because we said earlier that according to them this is wajib, right? To sit at your body, for your body to come at a complete rest, right? So أجزأه عند أبي حنيفة ومحمد رحمه الله تعالى وقد ذكرناه, right? So وقد تكلموا في مقدار الرفع. The ulama have spoken and they've discussed, when we say you must come out of sajda, how much must you come out of sajda? I explained to you already. I told you, you must come so much out of sajda that you are closer to a sitting position. Now we'll say you separated between what? Now we'll say you separated between the two sajdas and you made two sajdas. But if you come out so little that you are still closer to the sajda position, you say as though you only made one sajda, you understood them. So, وَتَكَلَّمُوا فِي مِقْدَارِ الرَّفْعِ, the ulama have spoken and discussed with regards to the extent in which you must make rafa. وَالْأَصَحُ أَنَّهُ إِذَا كَانَ إِلَى السُّجُودِ أَقْرَبْ لَا يَجُوزُ. The correct thing is, if he came out so little out of sajda that he is still closer to the sajda position, then as though he didn't come out of sajda, as though he made two sajdas. You understood that? Sorry, as though he made one sajda. But لأنه يعد ساجدا, because he hardly came out of sajda, he's closer to the sajda position, so it will be considered to be a person who is in sajda, a person who made one sajda, right? Are you with me? وإن كان إلى الجلوس أقرب جازا, but if he came out of sajda so much that he was closer to the sitting position, so because he was close, as though he said, and if he said, that means he separated between the two sajdas, and we'll say he made two sajdas, jaza. لأنه يعد جالسا, he will be considered to be a person who said, right? فتحقق الثانية, so we'll say the second sajda took place, right? Carry on.
السجود أقرب لا يجوز لأنه يعد ساجدا، وإن كان إلى الجلوس أقرب جائز لأنه يعد جالسا.
Okay, let me we translate, explain it, read the next one. Right. So فإذا اطمأن ساجدا, so when a person now has come to a complete rest, like I told you, it's wajib, ne? It's wajib for your body to come to a rest in every position. فإذا اطمأن ساجدا كبر, you will make takbir, وقد ذكرنا, we gave the reason why I made takbir, because كان يكبر عند كل خفض ورفض, right? Right, كبر. وقد ذكرنا, we mentioned it. واستوى قائما, then he will go straight up. على صدور قدميه, upon the صدور. Yeah, we can say صدور normally means chest, sadar. But in this context, we can say sudur here would mean upon the balls of his feet. He will go straight up, right? He won't pause a little while, sit there. Or also, if he's young and healthy, he won't take support on his hands, right? واستوى قائما على صدور قدميه ولا يقعد. He will not sit for a little while like how the Shafis do. The Shafis say after tashawwud, etc. or after the sajda, you sit a little while. It's called jalsa istirahat. ولا يقعد, not sit. ولا يعتمد بيديه على الأرض. He won't take support with his hands on the ground, right? Just straight up on the balls of your feet, right? وقال الشافعي, and I, the ladies are normally, they do this here. So after they come up from sajda, they pause a little bit, then they go up. This is not correct. This is not proven, right? This is the Shafi madhab, yes, not the Hanafi madhab. وقال الشافعي, as Imam Shafi say, يجلس جلسة خفيفة. After the sajda, he will sit for a brief while, right? ثم ينهد. Then he will نهد ينهد. He will stand up معتمدا على الأرض, taking support from the ground. This is not from the Hanafi madhab. And what is proof? His proof is لأن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم فعل ذلك. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم done that. النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم after sajda, he sat a little while and then he took support from his hands. We say, no, you don't do that. We say, you don't do that. Carry on reading. لأن ولنا
حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان ينهض الصلاة على صدور أهله. رواه كبري. ولأن هذه قاعدة راحة والصلاة وضعت لها الركعة الثانية.
Okay, we stop there, right? So we say no. You don't pause after the sajda for a little while. You go straight up. ولنا حديث أبي هريرة رضي الله عنه. For us, we have the hadith of Abu Hurairah. أن النبي صلى الله عليه وسلم كان ينهل على صدور قدميه. He used to rise quickly upon the balls of his feet. وما رواه محمول على حالة الكبر. Yes, there is a hadith that suggests that Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam after sajda would come up for a seki, then he would stand up. But we said that was when Nabi sallallahu alaihi wasallam was reached an advanced age, so he couldn't rise up quick. You understood that? So وما رواه محمول على حالة الكبر, that which says that he waited a minute and then he stood up, that was when he was in an advanced stage. ولأن هذه قاعدة استراحة. And we say, look here, to say that after sajda you must pause a little bit, that is called قاعدة استراحة, set to rest. والصلاة, now there is giving the logical explanation, giving the dalale, the dalile aqli. The salat is not to rest, the salat is to pray. So if you're not tired, or if you are able to go straight up, why must you sit there a little bit? Why must you sit there a little bit? Just go straight up. Okay, there's a new subject matter after that, so we'll stop there, inshallah. We will continue tomorrow, inshallah, with the second rakat. So alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah Ta'ala, we've completed one complete rakat from the time of the sana, the ta'awuz, the basmala. We discussed the laws of each, the fatiha, the surah, right? Then we discussed the ruku, then we discussed the qawma, then we discussed the sajda, then we discussed the jalsa, then we discussed standing up to the second rakat. So alhamdulillah, with the grace of Allah Ta'ala, we've completed one complete